Hafaday, my name is Ryan and welcome to Datapoints. Today we're going to have Dan Swavely, and Dan is a planner, and he's been on Guam since the early 70s and been acting as a planner for the government privately and as a consultant for the last 40 years. So Dan brings a lot of perspective because he's brought developments, to the market. He's dealt with density issues and he's solved a ton of problems, and he understands the systems that cause the issues, and he has some insights into how to solve those problems. We look forward to you joining us on any of our platforms. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Thanks for liking, sharing, and sending us your questions. Hafaday, and welcome to Data Points. My name is Ryan, and I'm the president of Pinpoint Guam, and today I'm here with Dan Swavely. And I've been bugging Dan for a little bit, but he's he's pretty busy. But the reason why is because Dan is a planner, and he started out with John Duenas, with Duenas and Swavely. And then in 1990, you went off on your own.
That's right.
And now what you do is you help bring developments and projects to the market. You help advise them in terms of development, what infrastructure they're going to need. You connect them to the resources that they need to successfully bring a development from concept to execution. Is that correct?
Mostly. I can elaborate.
Sure, please do.
Yeah. To begin with, I started in 1970 on Guam, right? Department of Public Works. That's really where I got my basis in construction and development. I mean, on the street, construction and development, right? I was chief of operations there for a few years. And then John Duenas at that time was the chief of engineering. So that's how we hooked up, and we've been best friends ever since. And then I went this way and he went that way, and then we reconnected again in 1979 and eventually became Duenas and Swavely Incorporated.
I see.
Yeah. So I think the essence of what I do is to help developers and investors who know what they want and who know where they want it into how to get there.
Okay.
That's really it, right? I never advise a prospective client or a former client what they should do. They have to bring that to me. I don't go into that realm. They have the money, they have the dream, they have presumably the expertise. I take that, and the property generally, and I take that and just try to make sure that I can get all the entitlements out of the way so they can take off.
Okay.
That's really the essence of my work.
So what are entitlements in the way that you say them?
Entitlements are the correct zone, some permitting, all permitting if they want, everything that's required before that shovel goes into the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you come into the expertise to execute that?
Okay, so part of it goes back to Public Works.
Mm-hmm.
When I worked at Public Works in the early 70s under Governor Camacho and Lieutenant Governor Kurt Moylan, as chief of operations, we built roads because we didn't have contractors. We collected all the trash because we didn't have vendors to collect trash. Yeah. We maintained all the buildings because we didn't have vendors to maintain. We maintained the entire government fleet of vehicles, including the buses. Mm-hmm. So I got a really strong background in getting things done, right? And I developed a lasting affinity to work with mayors during those days. And, we just figured out how to do things. That's not the way the Department of Public Works works these days, fortunately, because it can contract those services out. But in the early 70s, we didn't have that. We didn't have that opportunity. We had to figure out how to do it themselves. Accordingly, as chief of operations, I had 900 people working with me at Public Works. We had 1,200 in all.
Big operation.
It was a different world.
Yes.
But that's really how it started, through that. And then I spent a year as the first chief planner at the Bureau of Planning and learned a little bit more policy from the Attainable side. Yeah. And then when I came back, it was with, first of all, Juan C. Tenorio and Associates, where John was the chief engineer, and that firm morphed into Duenas and Swavely Incorporated.
Okay. And so you took on the planning apparatus, and then John took over the engineering apparatus and the survey side.
Those were our areas of expertise: engineering, planning, surveying. We did the first. We brought in the first GIS program to Guam. Yeah. We had a big operation. We had 70 employees.
So, with that, so what I'm hearing from you is it's the context and the expertise that you derive through your journey in executing all these jobs, and I would say the relationships as well, and the commonality that you have in terms of, I understand the structure, I understand what you have to do, this is what I have to do, and we meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, something like that. I'm really careful not to tell investors or clients what to do or where to do it, because my clients come from a whole range of different backgrounds and expertise, right, in different industries. I just want to help them. I just help them to make sure that they can do what they want, where they want. That's really where I fit in.
Right, but then so what I'm seeing now, just in terms of executing what you do, in terms of trying to solve problems for people trying to bring inventory to the market, or solve real estate problems. That's what I do in the course of my everyday job.
Correct.
What I'm finding is the people that know the operations on the governmental and the private sector, nuts to bolt, are very few and far between. And why that matters is because that commonality and that context of information. You understand what the engineer is saying. You understand what the surveyor is saying. You understand what the practical concerns of, all the people on the agency review, committee would be.
Yeah.
And you can address them accordingly, but that's because of the context that you have, nuts to bolts. But you can also push back.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes. I have a favorite saying, and those who work with me have heard it before, that I've hired and fired every surveyor, architect, and engineer on Guam at least once. And that's because pushback is necessary. Again, my pushback isn't so much generated from me personally, it's generated from what my client wants.
Okay.
Because it's my client's intentions and objectives which are of the utmost importance in my work for that client.
Okay. And I guess more so on that side, I'm speaking like on the governmental side. I think one of the problems that I see is the aging out of the skilled decisioners. A lot of the people who have the legacy experience and have the nuts to bolt experience from beginning to end, who have been there and have the insight on how problems were solved before, are aging out. Not to say their approach was good or right, but that institutional knowledge is leaving the building, and I think there's a gap. Do you see that as well?
I understand what you're saying, Ryan, and it's a good observation. I don't witness it too much. So I did my first, at that time it was Territorial Land Use Commission.
Okay.
I did my first presentation in 72 or 73. It's over 50 years ago, right? So I've seen a lot of commissions come in and out. I've seen a lot of technical and non-technical people in the process come in and out. And we have a lot of really smart people right now, as I see it, in the government. Bear in mind, I cut my teeth in the government of Guam, okay? So I have an understanding about what they're faced with and their challenges, right? I'm not generally critical about the government of Guam. It serves no purpose in my mind. I am generally helpful, I hope, in trying to reach commonalities with them. And I'm fairly impressed with a lot of people who are in the government right now.
Okay.
Yes, I am. Yeah. Yes, maybe my era of guys and gals, we're getting less and less, frankly, every year. But there's a good group out there.
And I want to really dig in there.
Sure.
In that point. I'm not saying that there's a lack of talent and there's a lack of intelligence at all. Like, I know there are skilled people, right, in the planning division, pervasively throughout the government, because I deal with them every day because we rely on them to deliver services.
For sure.
But what I'm saying is what's happening is the people who kind of know what right looks like, right, and have that perspective to say stay the course or no, you should shift here, I think that's going away experientially. And so now you have a generation of people who don't have, like, can't really draw on the lessons from the past because that's leaving.
That's true.
And there's no baseline for how we're moving forward. And so to expect our systems to function in the way that they've been functioning, understanding that there's this gap, how can we continue? So more so I'm saying our talent base is changing. Our legacy knowledge is leaving. And even though it's leaving, the way we're doing things isn't really working with the people that we have. So how can we model to move forward to solve these problems? I just had Len on here right before you. And the thing is, Guam is, I said, what's wrong with Guam's economy? And you know, one of the things that keeps coming up, he was telling me is like, hey, I was looking at the podcast and everyone's saying permitting. It's like, how can I get these government entities to function in a way that matches the speed at which we wish to do business? And so that's where I'm seeing is the gap. And that's the point I'm trying to make. And so, again, not disparaging, because government, I mean, there's some talented people. You know, they used to work, some of them used to work for me.
Yes.
They leave me to work for the government.
Right,
and
right,
I love that
right.
because they see how we operate, how we want a decision on data, and now they can take that approach inside. But what is driving the governmental approach that you see that gives you hope that we're gonna get better?
That would be the people at the working level that I'm with. To answer your question is like, what is missing in permitting? That's an easy answer. It's leadership.
Okay.
That's what I see as missing. Leadership, okay? I have seen minimal improvements in permitting while I've been here. I had great hopes when Carl was appointed permit czar. I worked with him closely on that. But one guy can't make a difference. It's got to be broader. It's got to be more generic.
I'm sorry, Carl who?
Carl Gutierrez.
Okay, right.
Yeah. It's got to be more generic, and it's just not happening. So we continue to move along with the system we've inherited. Frankly, it was better when we were in the government. Frankly, it was. I can say that because I've been at both places. Most people haven't. Right? I've seen it. I know what it was like then, and I know what it's like now. And it was better then. And you can say, well, you didn't have as much going on and this and that. Oh, hell yeah, we did. Oh, are you kidding me? Yeah, Japanese buildup on Guam? Of course we did.
Kaiser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Barragata Heights
We
came
didn't
up
have
there.
as many regulations imposed as we do now, but that's our fault. Right? I mean,
Well, you learned, I guess.
yeah, that's our fault.
Right.
And we have a lot more technology now than we had then, so you would think that all that builds in speed and efficiency to the process. It's leadership, not only at the very top, but at the top and other levels, subordinate.
Okay. And I agree. I agree that it is leadership, and that's also common in what we're pulling from here. It's like, you know, common vision and a common goal and a common agreement, and this is how we're going to get there. And we've really been missing that. And even in solving any of our problems, you know, you have to be on mission across the board, and we're so siloed. Everyone has their competing agendas, and that's why it's not working. And no one has a real idea or has a vision that everyone buys into in the way that we move forward. And so that's what I'm trying to establish here. What is the way forward? What is the thing that we need to do? And it does come down to leadership. So what should leadership do, Dan?
We're talking now permitting.
Sure.
I mean, what should leadership do?
Well, we can go as big as you
Yeah,
want. You said you're going to curse. I'm waiting.
Wow, I have 1,000 things in my mind right now.
I'm waiting for some F.
Let's narrow it down a little bit. Okay.
But let's keep it to permitting because
And are
again,
we talking building permitting, or are we talking GLUC, public health permitting?
No, Dan. Really, I started this for attainable housing. You say affordable housing is an impossible dream.
It's an oxymoron.
Okay, but attainable, there are systems that we can do to help get people. So that's why I started this, because at the end of the day, if we have housing for people that's
Right.
affordable and safe,
right.
a lot of our social problems will go by the wayside. If we build communities for people,
I'm with
a
you
lot of our
100%.
problems will go by the wayside.
100%.
So how do we fix that with leadership?
Okay. Are we going to afford attainable housing now?
Let's focus on permitting for attainable housing
Permitting
to get that
for
to the market.
attainable housing.
Because
Okay.
before you start, I just want to. The RFI comes out. You know the RFI, right? Everyone runs to the table.
Yeah.
Community block development grant.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Whoo, what's that?"
Yeah.
No one wants to do that.
Yeah.
No one wants to work in that structure. It's
Yeah.
too rigid.
Yeah,
So
too
tell
rigid.
me.
Too rigid. Too rigid. The simple answer again is leadership. Someone who does not depend necessarily on their inherent knowledge or presumed self-expertise, and goes beyond those who are in their immediate kitchen cabinet, and reaches out to people in the trenches. I'm in the trenches, right? I have 30 or 40, 1 year, 50 public hearings in a year.
Experts.
In a year,
Yes.
right? You learn stuff from that, right?
I agree.
And most of the things you learn is what doesn't work, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. And then you find a path in between. Resolving building permits, for instance, it's not rocket science. As a matter of fact, it's not even hard. We have the people who can do it. What we don't have is somebody saying, do it and finish it before you go home today. That's what we don't have, okay? It's not difficult. We don't need new people. We don't need more people. We don't need different kinds of people. We just need those people to be properly led to do that particular job and not get distracted by another 100 different things.
Yes.
The delay in permitting from my in-the-trench experiences is abominable, simply because I didn't get to it. I had other things to do. Director called me, right? I was on leave. My auntie died. Things like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I get all that stuff. That's life. But permitting has never been a priority for this government.
Okay.
It's been a priority to talk about, and it's been a priority to say, yeah, we're on it.
So, okay, Carl. Let's isolate Carl, right? And let's give him the credit. He was the best permit czar.
Yeah.
What did he do that was effective that you would like to see?
He started, in my mind, Carl started with the digitalization of permitting, which I think is good. I haven't been ever greatly impressed by it, because the way I put it is you can have speed-of-light processing of an application between the applicant and the agencies. But if it lands on a desk where there's Stone Age time given to it, it's not going to get done. So that's one part of it. But Carl understood that, and then Carl honestly tried to work with agency directors who, again, they mean well and they are capable. But I know they have. I was there. I was acting director of public works many times. You get hit with so many things, right? And you can't get it all done in one day. So there has to be some leadership instilled in them to say, which are the only things I care about today that get done? And until permitting rises to the first or second, maybe third priority, we won't see any change, and we haven't seen any change.
And I'll set the table for those who don't understand why it's important for an investor. It's because the time horizon in terms of the capital that you have tied up with a project is significant, especially when you're considering competing investments and the speed at which the market moves. If you're stuck in the dirt here and you don't have a market ready to go to take your inventory off, and you're doing something at scale, it took Paradise Estates 5 years to sell all those houses, and that was the only game in town at the time.
Yes.
And they had to do it in phases, and there was demand, significant demand. But still, it took that time for it to absorb into the market.
That's our problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's our. We as a government That's our problem, because we have not demanded that it has to be fixed. Oftentimes, those of us who try to make changes or keep complaining about the same things, we fall into a box, a category of just complainers.
Exactly.
Complainers. Right? And I'm thinking, this isn't for me. This isn't for me. This is for investment.
Right.
Tax base, employment, progress. That's what it's about. Until we get a leadership structure that walks the walk and not just talks the talk, it won't change.
So, understanding all that, why do you think people keep coming here and investing here?
I love Guam. Investors love Guam. I mean, we've got so much potential. The only thing that holds Guam back is those of us, all of us, right, who don't see the potential here and who don't work hard and strive to achieve it. Yeah, they see it. I see that all the time. Take, for instance, the most recent large client I've had, Hanwei, Guam, with their new resort in Tumon, right? I mean, these people could go anywhere. They have gone everywhere. Mm-hmm. Okay? They came to Guam, and why? Because, we're struggling with tourism right now, this and that and this and that, but they see Guam. They see Guam in the future, right? I see Guam in the future. You see Guam in the future.
Absolutely.
And that's good, but then how do we get there?
Yes.
How do we get there, right? So we have to keep attracting. Well, I think Guam attracts investors on its own. I don't think investors come to Guam because of a person or a system or the government. I think they come to Guam on their own intuition as saying, I see it. Yeah, I see it. I see it. Right?
That's fair. Yeah.
That's why they come to Guam. But then when they cross that threshold, that's when we should pick it up and we should say, thank you for seeing it. We see it too. Let's work together and get you in the ground, out of the ground, and operating as soon as possible.
So who are your biggest assets in getting that confidence when people come in your door?
My assets?
Yeah, like in terms of intra-government agencies that you think are doing a good job in bringing investors here, like GITA, like GVB.
Well, again, I'm very sensitive about not being critical of the government. It's futile, and it's just not the way we do things on Guam. I think every agency is doing what it can. I'm in no position to judge who could do better or who could do worse. A lot of it is situational and opportunistic, basically, on what they're given to work with. Yeah, I know personally most of the people in all those agencies, and I have as they've changed all these years. And yeah, they're all good people. I don't know, Ryan. I can't answer that question, like who's really pushing us ahead and who's holding us back.
Well, more so, I guess the subsequent point I would make is, what do you think if say, GITA came up with a program to carry in investors willing to offer, a developer willing to offer housing in a certain price range and give them affordable development financing in partnership with local lenders, at a below market rate or a deferred payment status that would be held off until the project gets out to the market?
Of course, that's great. I mean, in my head, I see that program right away. Mm-hmm. I could write that program out right now in 20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that's what's coming to, that's where the LIHTCs have been successful here.
Yeah, that's right.
The tax credit investments.
Right. Because it's well structured, right? And it can't get mucked up, frankly, by the players on either side. It's well structured, and it's destined for success usually. So that's why it's one of the most commonly popular.
But so I would say it's mired down by procurement, because every time one comes in, the other players protest. There's structural knowledge that you're reliant on to do that. Beyond, in terms of managing the tax credits, creating the nonprofit apparatus and all that stuff. There's also an experiential requirement. And then at the end of the day, the bond market rules how much you're going to get for the tax credits in the future. True. So there's all these competing factors where it's very hard to model out. And that's why there's very few players. And, that's why there's protests when there's a lot of money and there's a lot of infrastructure around that. But back to the point I made earlier with the RFI, the military comes, everyone comes running, even though that's there, but they know the profit is modeled and it's there. Versus this, there's such a long horizon with this. Can I even execute it? And do I want to deal with this? And I think we have to get to that place where we have structures that achieve the same thing, but are easier to work with. And that's kind of what I'm chasing.
So structures that we have that are easier to work with should be our own doing.
Yes.
Should be our own doing. Again, this isn't rocket science. We could do that. I could do it if I was asked and I was given authority to execute it. It's not so difficult. I do work with Gita or whomever, about these things. But again, there are other priorities and there are other interests maybe that overtake that particular aspect. There's really no super agency here who's in charge of, for instance, all investment incentives and all permitting. I want to be that developer. I want to be that director.
Okay.
Yeah. There's nothing like that.
Sure.
Right now. But if we had that, we could streamline this in no time. It's not difficult.
It's being on mission.
Yeah, and staying on mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, and staying on mission.
So who would you have on that committee?
You?
No, seriously though. I mean, where do you think that needs to who do you think needs to be at that table, do you think? But thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it. They're coming from you, Dan. I'm just like, ooh,
it's hard.
I'm going to walk out of here with a big
past
head.
you, Ryan. I think just you and me.
Okay, kinks are in.
First of all, not many.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, John would be there, right?
Yeah, John would be there,
Yeah.
But again, that's a personal preference because I value his judgment and his impeccable intuition about things.
Well, he and Monty McDowell have championed, real estate legislation for the last 15 years.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I haven't thought about the people. I want to be in top, but I haven't thought about the people. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it can be done. It can be done.
But Bert Johnston, shout out to Bert, right?
Yes,
he did an amazing job, during that permitting study, and he really had a plan.
Yeah.
And he had a plan, and it really came down to the counter people.
This is what I'm saying. We have and Bert's a good example.
Yes.
Thank you very much. He's very dear to me. We have a lot of people who can do this stuff, okay? But are we all working in the same direction? Right. And the other thing is, when we're talking about bringing in investment and making sure that they can go from point A to point B quickly, we don't want to get too involved with the collateral problems of financing and human resources, right, and infrastructure and things like that. That stuff will fall into place. But something we should offer to people who are thinking about Guam is, hey, if you've got the money and you know what you want to do and you know where you want to do it, we'll help you get there quickly. Right. That's what we as a government of Guam can promise you. And what a better calling card for investors.
But we say that all the time. We get Gita in, we get the Dog and Pony show, right? We say we're going to do all the things, right? Come to Guam. Because I've been a part of it. I brought a development here post-COVID, like in the COVID, and the map was there for 2 years, right? Waiting for a signature.
Yeah, that's it. Leadership.
So I get to that place, right, where it's just, okay, everybody knows what to do. Yeah. Everybody, from Bert, you, there's a history. The plan's been mapped out, but it's just execution. And so I see things that, that drive me crazy. Like, okay, we're still taking paper-based applications, so that means, someone has to type that in. Versus, GPA, GWA, they have a great job. Just at the counter, you can just type everything,
Yeah.
type your name in and
Right,
stuff.
right,
It queues
right,
it up.
right.
That RPA, that remote process automation, that is key.
It is.
And then also, the idea of the counter people, they're at a disadvantage dealing with the everyday consumer or the everyday applicant, the individual applicant, because I would argue that the number one problem they have is an incomplete application. So then they have to go and like chase all these things.
A lot of building permit problems are generated by the applicant itself.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, an applicant doesn't make mistakes intentionally, but
you look
it
at the
happens, and that's where there has to be more hand-holding involved.
No, but you look at the form, Dan, and it's so confusing.
It is.
Well, I don't know how many cubic feet of
It
like
is.
fill I'm going to need.
I
Do I
know.
need a clearing permit?
I
I don't
know.
know. Like, how am I supposed to figure this
Yeah,
out?
right.
And so that's so
Right.
frustrating because you're starting the problem from the very beginning.
Yeah, that's true. The application and portions of the application are difficult. Yeah.
And so just why can't we just have a universal application for any government service where you onboard and it's just, that's so easy to do now. And again, everybody knows the fix, but we just continue to perpetuate, and that's dealership.
Yeah. The input, the application part of it is one aspect, but the delay really comes in what happens after the application is finished and it gets handed over.
Right.
That's where the delay occurs.
But as a human,
Yeah.
if I see the Dan Swavely application, if I see the certified planner application, I'm going to pick that pile first because I know it's complete and I know I can do my job.
Yeah.
And I also know
That could be. It shouldn't work like that. It should be first in,
but
last out.
like
First in,
you tend
first out, whatever works.
humans
for that.
push stuff to the corner that they don't want to deal with. And that's the thing. And part of it is because
Leadership doesn't allow that. Leadership says, okay, you keep, for instance, you keep track of every application that's come in there, okay? The date and the time, okay? At the end of each day, show me your log. What went out? What's still in there?
Sure.
And why is this one out and it came in much after that one? That's leadership. Monitoring is a part of leadership. That, I think, would help a lot. So easy. So easy. It's like making your kid do homework, right? Okay, here's your homework. Okay, what have you finished? All right. Oh, you haven't finished that way. Things like that. That's not tough, Brian.
I agree, Dan. Accountability is and transparency as to why things are happening so the right people can be held accountable.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of lacking.
On the other hand, we must understand that those people who can impose those requirements as directors and deputy directors are very, very busy. Okay, very busy. I know them all. They work like hell. There's no doubt about it, and they just can't get to everything. Now, that's not their fault. That's not their fault, because everybody who is overwhelmed by work, whether it's the intake person at building permits, or the person who reviews it, or the first supervisor who reviews that reviewer, or that one, right? They all have somebody above. And that somebody, there's a top to all that, right? And that has to come down. That has to come down.
Right. And that's where I would argue, right, it's very hard to move the machine as a director, especially if the organization or the systems are entrenched against you. It's very hard to move that machine if you don't have a
right.
workforce that is willing and behind and on message,
Like I say,
and accountable.
I was there, okay? I sat behind a big desk. And I was there, and I mean, I didn't sleep for 4 years.
But I know directors of directors that I'm aligned with, but we can't get the output from their agencies that we would like, and it's just because the machine won't move.
The machine,
And there's gatekeepers. There really is gatekeepers. There are.
Yeah, it's true. I just don't want to posture this whole thing as impossible, or
It's not.
insurmountable, because listen, look at our history. Look at what we as an island and people have done, right? And now we're stymied by a permitting process. Are you kidding me?
But that's why it's so frustrating, Dan, because all the fixes, again, it's in Bert's report.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what the problem is.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. And it's just a lack of prioritization and care. I think. And that's the most disappointing thing, because here's guys like us trying to bring stuff to the market, like facilitating these things, but we just run into walls all the time. And, it's not to say that they don't want these things to happen.
No, not at all.
But at
Not
the same time, it's like, are we willing to do the hard things to make these things happen?
Nobody wants to be blamed for inefficiencies that they inherit and that they just cannot overcome because of externalities.
I think we just need to admit that we failed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's
that'd be a good
broken.
starting spot.
I think, right? And let's start over from here.
Yeah, that'd be a good starting spot.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
Dan, one of my favorite stories is you were telling the story about doing a hearing in Inarajan.
Yeah.
Can you tell that story?
Oh, that was one of my least favorite.
With the one with the Archbishop, tell me.
Wow, did I tell you that story?
You did.
So, in the early 90s, I guess, when Japanese investment was just roaring, this group wanted to buy 1,000 acres in the Inarajan area, the Malolo area, to do Tautau Resort. Okay, it was just, it was like Leo Palace,
Okay.
20 years early, and at the wrong place. And then part of the taking was right below Inarajan, where the nunnery is. I forget the name of it.
The Carmelite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mount Carmelite, right below there, right?
Okay.
And so, of course, there was a lot of opposition.
Well, like Iha, the backside.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a lot of opposition to it locally, right? But we promised to build new schools and this and that, and I'm pretty sure the people were okay with it. At that time, the commissioners, they were. Yeah, we worked hard. I worked hard with them all, and then so we had this blockbuster public hearing down there. Okay, all of the land use commissioners were required to attend, right? And there was a lot of opposition. This is really where Angel Santos got his start.
That time.
Yeah. That was one of the first, unfortunately not the last, public hearing that I drive up to, and I see signs with my name on, people marking around like that, That was one of the first. To the extent that I had a police escort.
Okay.
Yeah, I met them at the Ganish, I don't know if it was a Ganish shop, townhouse or something like that, right? And I had a police escort down and back.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we get down there, and I'm doing my thing, and I made it short because I know everybody's just,
Waiting to speak. Right? Yeah.
And Archbishop Aparon was there. Okay, full regalia. I thought, all right, this is good. This is important stuff. And he gets up, and I hand him the microphone, and he gets about this close with the microphone, and the power goes out, just like that. Dark. People start screaming, and oh my God, da-da, just like that. And I don't know why it went out, and it came out. It came on about a minute later, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I took the microphone, and I said, wow, I cannot do that. And I give it back to him. That kind of broke the ice a little bit.
Yeah.
But he was still against the project.
Yeah. That was a great story. Well, God made his vote too.
Somebody did.
Anyways, He probably orchestrated that. There was a Carmelite in the end, like turning on the lights to get everyone's attention.
All I'm saying is I can't do that.
But can you? What are some failed developments that you remember that never came to fruition that you thought maybe should have happened?
Well, I don't remember any in particular. Most of my projects come to fruition.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had a few that never did. That one never did.
Sure.
Actually, the client withdrew the application.
Okay.
They just said there's too much.
Not worth the
too
heat.
much going wrong here.
No, I get it.
Yeah, there's too much going wrong here, and even if we could have got it approved, there's ways to still sandbag approved projects and this and that. And
Yeah.
I just think there was maybe not too much popular opposition, but too much authoritative opposition to it. But most of them were okay. Yeah. There's a few that we get approved, subdivisions here and there that take a while to get off the ground because infrastructure requirements kill it. But again, we knew that going in, right? And that is one of the things I advise my clients. Here's the problems with your. I can get it approved, but there may be some killer conditions of approval.
Do you believe in that apparatus? Like a lot of times when you want to build a lot and you're far afield from a 6-inch line, they'll say, "Well, put in 100 feet of 6-inch line, and then we'll give you your." Do you believe like that kind of stuff should happen?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do because again, that's a locational choice, and if that locational choice is well conceived and well thought out, I'm going to tell them, what's going to happen here. The line's over there. You're over here. You're going to be required. Okay, so you crank that into your bottom line right now. And if it doesn't pencil out, let's just stop right now.
Sure.
Because you will be required to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The only exception to that generally is power. Power will run power anywhere because they can amortize the costs, and it's just not that expensive, frankly. And so we never have a problem with power, and not so often with water. It's wastewater.
Sewer is your problem.
Yeah, wastewater is always the deal killer.
What about sprinklers and like IBC? Like, do you think there should be changes to the IBC made that would be effective here and safe? The International Building Code.
Right. I don't know. I don't know. That gets to a level of detail in design that I can't do. Mm-hmm. I go to my trusted architects for that stuff. We have occasional changes in the UBC that we adopt on Guam, although we're pretty far behind in adopting the latest versions, which might be good, frankly. I'm not saying let's go out and get the best and brightest of the Uniform Building Code in hand. That's a better question, really, for designers.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you run into any like design obstacles that are consistent that you need to overcome outside of EPA and wastewater?
Not really. Mm-hmm. Not really. I mean, we don't want an island of workarounds.
Yes.
We want an island that is compliant with modern U.S. building codes.
And that's hard, and that's easy to say, but hard to do because we don't. We're like Texas. We don't have a uniform zoning code. We're awash in exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, but we should not start making exceptions in construction standards. Yeah.
Or not making exceptions in construction standards, but effectively what we do is make exceptions in law. So if we're having to make so many exceptions in law, where can we ease some of that? Where is the easing in regulatory side to make it faster?
Different, yeah. Now we're talking about to make, for instance, building permitting. Well, we already talked about how to make building permitting not only faster but better. Mm-hmm. But law-wise, we have an antiquated, I say, zoning code.
Okay.
In 1966 or so, right? And we've made several improvements to it. I was a part of most of them. And that's good. But the process of the building code, the process of implementing the zoning code has much room for improvement in terms of both quality and time.
So tell me about that. Can you get a little bit more in depth there?
Sure. So for instance, the typical rezoning or conditional use application takes, first of all, an extensive application. I prepare those things, lots of backups, this and that and this and that. And then it's reviewed and then it's accepted eventually. That's a quick turnaround by planning division. And then we have a quick scheduling of the application review committee, which, for your viewers' sake, is a committee of 10 to 12 regulatory and sometimes non-regulatory GovGuam agencies that take a look at your application, and their representatives come and we sit around a table and I present it, and they have questions about this and about that, and make sure you do this and make sure you do that, et cetera, right? And then we go back and forth, and then the chief planner at Land Management serves as the chairperson of that committee. To that point, it's all very efficient. Mm-hmm. Then the law, executive order, requires that each of those application review committees submit a position statement regarding your specific application and their specific area of responsibility, okay? And then after all those position statements are received by the Department of Land Management, they schedule the first public hearing. We call it the municipal public hearing.
Okay.
Okay? By executive order again, those application review committees have 30 days to do that, submit their application, okay? Rarely does that happen. GPA does it within 30 days. Generally, Waterworks does it within 30 days. Public Works is getting better. We have some absolutely incorrigible violators of that. Sometimes I wait 5 or 6 months for a position statement that comes in, meaningless, tells me nothing, but it's in and it's signed, and so now we can schedule a public hearing. So right there is 5 months that we have waited for nothing. I'll tell you, of the hundreds of public hearings I have been the prime presenter at over the last 50 years, I've never had a question about a position statement from an agency. It's irrelevant, okay? We're just not there. It's not important. Because why? Because by the time they get to the building permit, that's when those permitting agencies, those regulatory agencies, get their whack.
Right. And would you prefer it comes earlier in the process, or are you fine with that?
I don't think it's necessary at all.
Okay.
Frankly. I really don't.
What do you mean get their whack?
Well, okay, so if it takes 6 months, that's not a number pulled out of the sky, incidentally.
And I noticed there are certain names omitted.
For EPA to tell me that you need to have a stormwater disposal system that meets the regulations.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. It was like, you could have told me that 6 months ago.
I don't need to be told that. And even if I'm not told that, and even if I forget about it, when they review your plan, if it doesn't meet regulations, it doesn't get approved.
Right.
That's my point.
That's the choke point.
So I think the whole thing, honestly, is worthless. Yes, we have a good time talking, making presentations, right? For instance, this Thursday, I have 3 applications before the application review committee, okay? You know, it's good, but it's not necessary. And so if you back up, when I submit an application, in 2 weeks it gets accepted. In 2 to 4 weeks, application review committee meets the first and third Thursday of every month. So in 2 to 4 weeks, we will have that. Then I wait 5 months for the municipal public hearing. And then after the municipal public hearing, we have to go to the Municipal Planning Council for 3 more hearings, okay? But we have that down. Then we go to GLUC.
After the comments, and then you circle back and say, okay, we've done this now.
Yeah. Well, not really. I mean, I don't submit anything. We negotiate some stuff, but the GLUC will not meet until the Municipal Planning Council of the village in which the project is located submits a resolution. And by law, that resolution can either approve with conditions, or disapprove. It's almost always approve with conditions.
Yes.
And when they have that, and honestly, the municipal planning councils I work with, which are mostly in the north, they know how to do this. These mayors are terrific.
Yeah.
Mayors and vice, they're terrific. They know how to do this. So if I have a municipal public hearing in which the Department of Land Management, the first one, is the hearing officer, I can get before a municipal planning council within 30 days. Yeah, and then I can get to the GLUC within another 30 days. So I'm only talking 2 months to go from the municipal public hearing to a decision. And before that municipal public hearing, I'm talking as many as 6 months waiting for papers that are irrelevant. And then before that, it's 1 month. So you see, I have 1 month, 4 months.
Right. And then you get your density approved, and now you got a permit.
Yes.
And now you're again negotiating with EPA for the same length of time. Now you're again
Now you're in the construction permitting phase.
right.
Two different things. One I call property entitlement. Make sure that you have the correct zone and the variances approved or whatever you require, and then your construction permit. Yeah.
Sure.
But we now have, I quote my prospective clients, 8 to 9 months, used to be 10 to 12, 8 to 9 months to go from application to decision.
Right.
Now it's about 7 to 8 months. Should be 3 to 4.
So I'm a developer. So typically my time horizon on anything is about 90 days if I'm going to do diligence, if I'm going to buy, right? And so I want to buy this property. I want to buy this $10 million property. I want to build a hotel on it, right? But I have no idea how long my due diligence period. It could be 6 months. It could be 2 years. And the reality is I'll probably have to acquire the property speculatively or in some way that,
That happens.
put them at risk or put myself at risk or put capital at risk while I figure this out.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the conditions are going to be imposed. And I don't even know what my cost of construction is going to be. But I'm sure you help maybe with model what the anticipated levy is going to be from the various agencies. And then they have to figure out price. But all the while, the market's moving so quick, material expenses, and then you lose the
That's
thread.
right. That's right. The easy answer to avoiding that uncertainty, especially the particular uncertainties that you cited, is you get the right consultant here on Guam.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that really is it, right?
Agreed.
Yeah, because I have lost clients, prospective clients, justifiably by saying, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. You got to change A, B, C, D to at least this, and this, or this range or that range. I said, or it ain't going to happen. I said, you can have Jesus as your consultant. It's not going to happen.
Sure.
Yeah.
And one of the things I see too in what you do is one of your challenges is the aggregation and collection of the data that you need in support of your cases.
Correct.
And that's one of the ways we help you in support, right?
Yes.
We use our database and we pull all the records. And that's a way the government could help too, by having a reliable source of data for guys like you to just be able to pull and model.
Yeah.
And that doesn't exist right now.
I've given up on that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you would think a reliable source of data would be maybe going to a website of the department, right, and saying, so what is this all about? And then you see it was last updated in 2021.
Well,
So
and what happens, Dan, is we're focused on the
it's personal. That's where it comes to personal.
Right.
And then more time.
Yeah.
And cost.
Agreed. And so again, as the developer, it's how do you sell that? As a real estate agent, that was the hard sell to bring something speculatively. As a facilitator of real estate transactions and assuring someone that it's going to be okay. That becomes increasingly more difficult, but that also monetizes me because it makes me and you valuable because we have that insight in terms of modeling. I can't do what you do, but I can connect people and I understand that, to point to.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to navigate here. And I think that's kind of the point we've landed on.
Well, that's one of the reasons why by the time you find, or it comes to you, a reputable prospective investor, they probably know the rules of the game. Mm-hmm. And there is, I think, reasonable expectations on their part that it's not going to be easy.
Yes.
Right. And if there aren't any expectations, I'm the first to tell them about crazy things. Right.
You're the truth teller.
Yeah.
The brass tacks.
But that notwithstanding, I must say that our Land Use Commission is very good. Because I read about other zoning commissions and things like that. And our Land Use Commission is really good. First of all, they're from here. Mm-hmm. They have experience. They have their own connections. They have their own people who they talk with. I'm very impressed by both the leadership and the membership of our Land Use Commission. Yeah, and for the most part, it has always been good. We've had a few crazy commissioners. I mean, I've been there, going there over 50 years.
Yeah.
We've had a few. We had a couple of commissions in which I didn't even take things to the commission.
Sure.
Because who needs it, right? You're just going to get this crazy drilling about questions that are irrelevant. And wait a minute, I thought we were all on the same side.
Mm-hmm.
But lately, the last 10, 15 years, we are well served by our land use commissioners.
One of the things,
And they change, you understand.
No, I
the
understand.
time,
Yeah, and I've actually seen the quality of the GLUC. Like there's experienced people that have come through there, developers and people who have a vested interest, and I would think at least they have some insight on the position. But one thing I wanted to ask is, when I do see commonly on the NOAs or on the ARC, common recommendation by BSP is to allocate a portion to attainable or affordable housing, but it always gets slapped down.
I always challenge that, and I always win.
Why?
Why do I win, or why do I challenge it?
No, why do you challenge it?
Oh, because there's no authority for that.
I see.
There's no authority for that.
But of all the concessions that a developer could give,
Yeah.
why is you buy paintings, right? You buy art, whatever. You'll get the QC.
Yeah.
Why aren't we, instead of giving tax credits for art contributions, why aren't we giving tax credits for contributions to attainable housing or better daycare and those kinds of things?
Well, that can be done, but it should not be tagged on to some Guam Land Use Commission notice of approval that, and Bureau of Planning, Bureau of Statistics and Plans is great at this. They always have that, almost always they have that in their position statement. And every time I have the same blurb, what planet are you living on?
Okay.
First of all, what is affordable housing? They can't answer that. And then how are we supposed to do this? Well, why are we going to be building these 15-story condominiums and then affordable housing?
Well, so
It's just, it's not only illogical, it's inconceivable.
I hear you, but so where I'm coming from is the Singapore model, right? Where it's kind of more mixed use, where they mix like affordable with luxury.
Okay, if the project comes in as a mixed use,
Sure.
but to slap, 15% of everything has to be affordable housing, regardless of the generic use. No.
So you don't think permitting is where that should lie? It should lie in some other apparatus, like if a developer is using certain funds or as part of the QC or something.
It should.
Okay.
Well, we can talk about that.
Yeah, let's. Yeah.
Okay. So you call it attainable housing. Is that right? I didn't think
Yes.
I heard that before, Because affordable housing on Guam is truly an oxymoron.
Yes.
I don't think we've ever had affordable housing on Guam.
Well, 100% subsidized on Gura is affordable for the recipients.
Yeah,
in a
but
way.
not for the people paying for it.
Nope.
Yeah, and affordable is affordable, right?
Agreed.
Across the board.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's why we used to laugh about the Gura's total low-cost housing, right? There was nothing low about the cost of that housing.
No, and the structures
Never.
you stand up for maintenance and all those things.
Yeah.
I understand. I get it.
Yeah. There are many things we can do to help reduce the cost of housing on Guam. I don't know if we can reduce it enough to make it affordable within the generic definition, the federal definition of affordable, right? Which, if you reverse engineer the specific benchmarks for what is affordable housing, you come to about a $250,000 house on Guam. That's about what you come to.
Yeah, based on the income levels.
Yeah. We have like a average median income in 2020. That's the last data we have, was maybe 60,000 or so. Probably hasn't changed that much. Then 1/3 of it can go to your housing costs. Okay, so let's say 20, and then that's $1,500 a month, but that includes utilities. So let's go $1,200 a month. A $1,200 mortgage generally gets you, after the 20% down payment,
Right.
generally gets you about a $250,000 house. Well, you know as well as I do that the median price of houses in the last 6 months has been well over $400.
Right.
So we're not even close. And I don't think we can do anything to get 420 something down to 250 something.
Well, we can, but the structure isn't in place. Like we could go steel.
Yes, okay. With today's common building technologies.
Yes.
Okay? So there are two things at play here, as I see it, that can take us from where we are today to what you aptly refer to as attainable housing. there is the building technology, which is something we haven't not yet really progressed with. We have a couple new things out there. I'm working with this group that does steel housing, and they've put it all over the world. They just finished a project in Africa. And so, I want to see what they have, and maybe, but there's a lot of work there yet.
Yeah, and the insurance structures don't exist.
and so everything has to go along with the financing, the insurance, right? But then the other thing is what could we do today to just bring down the cost of housing?
Right.
What could we do? Well, Jesus, lots of things, right? We could, from the land entitlement arena, we could combine all these different applications, which are now linear. Okay, you got to rezone it, then you do a tentative subdivision. That's 8 months. That's 8 months. Then you do a final subdivision application. We could put all that together into one application, as an example. The same thing with multifamily.
Right.
Yeah, we could. If you're going to rezone to R2 for an apartment, let's just do it one time.
Sure.
One time. And get rid of the ARC, right?
Right.
You'll have your approval with conditions, take it or leave it, within 3 or 4 months.
So you think I could come? You think I could come and package a development legislatively, say it's attainable, and put it in front of the legislature and ask them to approve it on the spot?
Yeah, I don't know. This is what's
because I might try this. You say
euphemistically, it's termed spot zoning.
I'm ideating right here.
Spot zoning.
Yeah, I'm gonna be calling you after this. Hey, you know that thing you said?
Puts a pretty big pox on you, and I don't participate in spot zoning. I get it. There are some unique situations in which spot zoning is really justifiable. I get it.
It's an election year. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, we've had a few of them. Actually, there's a few bills out there right now.
There are actually.
Yeah.
What do you think of those bills? Like the beautification bill where you fine for property taxes. I think there's one for spot rezoning for having houses in affordable range.
Yeah. I don't know. Let the process play out.
Okay.
I
gotcha.
I believe in the public hearing process.
I see.
Let it play out and let the best facts prevail.
Okay.
And but then with respect to what can this government do just to reduce the cost of housing? Oh God, there's so many things. I mean, imagine if there was no import tax or GRT on the sale of construction materials or equipment used for housing.
Yes.
Huh?
Great.
Imagine if there was no corporate income tax
Great.
for contractors.
Wow.
Imagine if we didn't have to pay $2,000 a year per H2 employee working on.
Right.
Yeah? Imagine if the transaction fees were waived, property taxes for the first 15 years, whatever. There's so many things we could do where the government now has evolved over time, justifiably, I'm not going back in history here, got its fingers into all these little aspects of what eventually becomes the bottom line cost. We could just take care of that.
No, that's I like that.
Yeah.
I like those ideas. I can hear John Lennon in the background.
Oh yeah.
Just saying that. But
all the beautiful people.
But what I would say is, what if the government participated in some of these developments, right? In terms of like investing, like on the bond side, as like an investor would, like a sovereign wealth fund kind of, right? They're going on. It's like, well, we're going to help you get there, but we want to realize some of the value on the back end. Would you support that?
No.
Okay.
I won't support that simply because of my political ideology that I'm a minimalist.
Sure.
For government.
No government.
Yeah.
You're a libertarian.
Conservative.
Okay.
And by and large, the less government, the better.
Okay.
So no, I wouldn't support it. Probably would happen, but I wouldn't support it.
Do we have too much government here?
Way too much.
Okay.
Hugely too much, from my perspective.
Well, yeah, definitely from here.
Yeah. And then even if we take, okay, so now we see all these ways that the government is getting a nickel here, a dime there, 2 cents here, $1 there, on all the aspects that add up to the bottom line of construction cost, okay? If they really are interested in attainable housing, back off.
Okay.
Yeah, just back off. Now, you cannot give a contractor in advance. For instance, your corporate income tax this year is waived because you're working on. No, you can't do that. But you can devise a system whereby a contractor can prove that this work went for affordable housing, attainable housing, right? Da 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 da, and then he can get a credit for next year, something like that. These are all things that are possible.
And these are tools in other people's toolbox that have been
Yeah.
used in, the property tax abatement, all that stuff
Yeah.
it's been conceptualized and executed. And even like DOL has a graduated registered apprentice where, they credit you in GRTs for, a portion of their compensation.
Yes.
And then
It's being done in some cases, but
even at the track, right? The developers are getting credit for fill or work done there at some point.
Guam Raceway?
Yes.
Yeah, I was part of that. I did work I took the Guam Raceway Park through the GLUC process, and I got a rebate in GRT.
Right. So it was like Smithbridge gave like a rate to, on concrete to attainable housing projects and, can
things
do
like
those
that.
kinds of things.
Things like that.
That's really good, Dan. I like that.
Let's talk about construction.
Let's do it.
So our building choice, our building choice is concrete, right?
Yes.
And there's other things out there. There's other things out there. Let's hope we can use them. But let's just stick with concrete.
Yes.
Concrete's really expensive, right? So I recall, and many do, that we used to get concrete somewhere about $60 a cubic yard. It's over 200 now. Yeah, it's over 200. Why? Well, of course, everything's gone up. And if you dissect the cost ingredients to concrete, you have something like 25% of it goes to the cost of cement. It used to be 8 to 10%. 25% of it goes to cost of aggregate. And then maybe 18% or so to the concrete batch plant, and then there's delivery, and then there's additives and sand and administration, right? So anyway, all that comes up to $220 today. How can we reduce that? Okay, I only know of one. Well, we could reduce the cost of cement if we could have the port drop its port fees.
Sure. Okay.
As an example.
Right.
Why not?
Yeah. Especially for attainable housing.
Yeah, why not? Okay, but what is the low-hanging fruit? Aggregate.
Okay. Oh. I keep hearing the aggregate conversation. We're worried about aggregate.
Let me explain it to you. We are hugely rich in aggregate on this island.
Yeah, it's all government.
Yeah, we are hugely rich. Aggregate is limestone, right? The northern third of our island is limestone. The best, but limestone ain't always limestone. There's some good and there's some much better. Turns out the best, I'm speaking just generally here, is on the east side of Route 15.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's not a coincidence that Hawaiian Rock and Smithbridge
On that side, yes.
are on that side, right? Mm-hmm. So okay, and who is the biggest single landowner of property on the east side of Route 15 between, for instance, Manilao and Anderson Air Force Base?
It's the government, the federal government.
No, Chamorro Land Trust.
Oh, Chamorro Land Trust. Okay.
Chamorro Land
I thought you were
Trust.
talking about the base.
Sure.
Yeah.
Between Manilao and
Understood.
it's Chamorro.
I'm thinking of inlands and all. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have Route 15, and then you have this jungle, and then you have
Okay. So Chamorro Land Trust owns the aggregate. Where are we going?
Chamorro Land Trust's primary responsibility is to, first of all, determine who is eligible for the homeless, land for the landless, right? Mm-hmm. And then to award homesteads to those people. Do you know statistics?
There's a 10,000 person waiting list or something.
I think it's 8,800.
Okay. Yeah.
And how many have they awarded in like the last 10 years?
3,000, I think, maybe. Has it gone that high?
Not even close.
900?
I don't think so.
Well, I'm on the list. I was at some point.
You better pay attention then. You better pay attention, boy.
My mom signed me up in 1995. Thanks,
You
Mom.
better pay attention. Yeah. Did
She
it get
did.
to you yet?
No.
1995.
I may have been called. I think so. It was in Jigo. Actually, it's next to Homestead Ranch.
Okay. So,
Don't take it.
so,
I didn't sign anything.
so here we are. We have an agency who's woefully behind in its mission. Again, not necessarily due to the people.
Sure.
There, right? They're all good people. They're all working hard. They all have good hearts. They all know what to do. They don't necessarily know how to do it.
Okay.
But they're sitting on a gold mine.
Because they devise the commercial leases. They create the financial structures to revenue from the land.
They could. They don't.
But it's their mandate.
It's their mandate. Their mandate is not how to. Their mandate is what.
But isn't the problem survey? They haven't surveyed and inventoried all the parcels. They can't even get there.
There's no problem.
There's no problem. It's just leadership. Okay.
We had recently this bill for the property behind the GPA GWA
Yes.
headquarters. Right?
Okay.
So they're already up on top, and then there's this going down. That's GLUC land.
Okay.
Okay, and we had a bill. I wrote it, in which case we
You
would.
mean Chamorro Land Trust land? Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chamorro Land Trust land. We would pay $4, for instance, a cubic yard to take that, not take it all. There's already a quarry there to begin with because that's where BPM built Route 15 from. But we'd bench it down, mass grade it into homestead lots.
Right.
Yeah, and the money that Chamorro Land Trust would derive from selling that aggregate would pay for the utilities to develop those homestead lots.
Yvonne, clip this up. Because I say that because, again, it's locked and loaded. Someone just needs to fire the bullet, right?
So the bullet was fired. It was, we had hearings. It was approved as a bill. It went to the governor, and the governor vetoed it.
Which one?
This one.
Okay.
She vetoed it, and this just a few months ago, presumably because there were, it was over the aquifer, as all of everything in the top third of Guam is. It was a primary limestone forest, as are thousands and thousands of acres now. And frankly, it wasn't primary because a lot of it was a big quarry.
Okay.
And because it was used as hiking trails.
Okay.
Okay. It was vetoed, and the legislature chose not to seek an override.
Well,
My understanding is because the bill's sponsor, Joseph Augustine, didn't want to seek an override. So I'm just saying that is one example. And there are other examples up and down. I also wrote a bill for Laguna Point, which is 400 acres, Ryan. For instance, behind Smith Bridge, Chamorro Land Trust. We could build 200 to 300 homestead lots served by infrastructure if we were allowed to go in there, properly graded. And then, well, what about the surveying? What about the biological? What about the archaeological survey? We do it all.
right. And then
Contractors will do it all, and you still walk away with $3-4 a cubic yard.
sure, and there's other places that can be graded and cleared for parks and facilities that are on Chamorro Land Trust lands, and you can build communities around as well. So yeah, that's interesting.
So we were talking earlier about what can the government do to reduce the cost on the administrative side, like waive the taxes, waive the port fees, waive the corporate da-da-da-da-da. Now I'm talking about how can we reduce that portion of the cost of aggregate into the cost of aggregate.
And effectively, that's 25% reduction right there if
Yeah.
you let them source it from
Yeah.
CLTC
And
land.
it's not only 25% reduction. It would be close. It wouldn't be completely, but yeah. And Chamorro Land Trust gets, and homesteaders get.
Right. And then Guam Housing can do loans, and then you get GURA off, right? And then it all monetizes in a lot of ways.
It is a model that is just waiting
and so
to be executed.
And because if there were structures there, if we had available lots that were ready to build, the market would come and build inventory there.
We know that.
We know. right? In small pockets, and we can incentivize developers in a lot of ways to come in and do the pockets. And
So that's ownership.
Boy, that's a bummer. Now I'm all like triggered.
You know what the key to getting this whole model off the ground is? The 8,800 families that are out there waiting for a homestead lot, hearing how they could get it and saying, hey, let's get together and do something about this. I'm looking for you to lead that since you're on the list already.
Well, there you go. Well, that's what we're trying to do. We're really trying to help people get to the bottom of why we are where we are and what solutions are there that are achievable. That seems inherently achievable because I know
It is.
the precast guys, I know the steel guys. They'll just give me a lot. I'll show up.
Yeah, it is. And again, this is not, I'm not ragging on any agency or person or something like this. It's just we have to get out of this inertia that we've been in about these thinking that if it's limestone forest, it has to be protected.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's like the Patriot, right? You know, the redcoats and the Americans, and they're shooting each other like across.
Yeah.
And some guys like, hey, why don't we just come around and do?
Come in the back door.
So I won't go there,
But the British hadn't figured that out in 300 years before that, so we're not going to expect them to be looking backwards.
Well, so let's be the disruptors, Dan. I appreciate your frank take on everything. I'm sorry that I didn't get to the place where you cursed. I was trying to get you fired.
I got about 3 or 4.
You wear your sport coat today. He's modeled for a public hearing. But I really appreciate your viewpoint over the years and you sharing your knowledge with us and the viewers.
welcome.
And thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you. That was a long podcast. Typically we're about 45 minutes. We were with Dan for an hour and 20. So watch out for extended content here. But that's because he had a lot of insight and ideas to share. We really wanted to get him cursing and fired up, but he really toed that line. He showed how smooth he is under pressure, and I appreciate it. I stepped on his Archbishop joke, but in the telling, if you ever see him in the streets, ask him to tell it. It's much better when I don't step on the punchline. But it was really great. It's really insightful. I hope you listened to the whole thing, and I hope you learned something from it. And I hope you learned something from all our conversations. Please give us a like, share it with a friend, send us a question, and we appreciate you joining us on any of our platforms. That's Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. We'll see you out there, and happy transacting.